Chapter 3788. Actually, we don't have to worry too much. From the looks of it, the angel race and the phoenix race will be completely suppressed. As long as we hide in the back, there won't be any big problems. When the royal family's voice rang out, everyone pursed their lips and their faces were filled with astonishment. It was not very harmful. It was very insulting. What did he mean by the gap was too big? What do you mean there might not be a problem? Does this mean that the angel race and the phoenix race will be completely suppressed? But looking at the current situation, it seemed to be the same. According to the legends, the ancient god Kuan breeder had 3 Kuan that could contend against 8th order sovereigns. How could he resist like that? With the strength of the angel race and phoenix race, they could contend against 3 8th order sovereigns if they used all their trump cards. But this resistance was only temporary. The 2 phoenixes of the angel clan had forcefully upgraded their strength. The 3rd prince's offensive treasure. Even though they could contend against 8th order sovereigns, how long could they last? 1 month? 2 months? Or perhaps a year? However, apart from the 3 Kuans, there was also the ancient god Kuan breeder. The ancient god Kuan breeder's power was also at this level. Most importantly, the legendary ancient god Kuan breeder was an existence that was besieged by the 3 top clans. Their strength was only comparable to an ordinary 8th order sovereign realm expert? This was clearly impossible. The ancient god Kuan breeder mentioned in the legends must have a terrifying strength that was far beyond the ordinary level. How is this possible? How is this possible? At the same time, the 3rd Prince Qingjiang Water Phoenix and all the experts of the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan saw the 3 Kuan surrounding them. He looked at Lan Qingyue, the legendary ancient god Kuan breeder. They felt this extremely terrifying power, and their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. The battle prowess of an 8th order sovereign. A total of 4 8th order sovereigns. Furthermore, it was a terrifying existence that only existed in legends. How were they supposed to fight? Looking at the sealed space and feeling the terrifying pressure, their bodies trembled violently. How could this be? Oh no. It's over, we're done for. The faces of the 7th order sovereign realm angels and phoenixes changed drastically, and their eyes were filled with fear and astonishment. What to do? What should he do? They were doomed. Once they started fighting, they would definitely not be a match for him. If the battle continued, they would all die. He would die. The difference was too great. They had relied on their trump cards to forcefully raise their cultivation to the 8th order sovereign realm. And the other party was real. Hee, 3rd Prince, Qingjiang Aqua Phoenix, you two aren't so naive as to think that I'll wait here for you to surround me just because of the strength I've displayed, right? Do you think I'm stupid enough to wait for you to kill me? Wang Xian stared at them with a face full of mockery. His eyes gradually revealed a look of disdain. Wang Xian had walked step by step from Earth to where he was now. He would not be careless. Those who thought he was careless would only end up dead in the end. It was the same for the 3rd Prince and the Aqua Phoenix. 2 idiots. Wang Xian mocked them as he looked at their ugly expressions. Hearing his words, the 3rd Prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix trembled violently, and their eyes turned red. I'll give all of you a chance to live. Come, 3rd Prince, Qingjiang Aqua Phoenix. Haven't you two been wanting to kill me? Today I'll give you two a chance. Both of you attack me and I'll fight both of you alone. If you can defeat me, I'll let all of you go. Wang Xian stared at them and continued plainly. What the fuck? TSK, the Dragon King is awesome. Is he going to fight the 3rd Prince and Qingjiang Aqua Phoenix alone? This is a blatant provocation. This is insulting. It'll be interesting if they don't dare to accept the challenge. Ha ha ha, if they don't even dare to accept the challenge, the Angel race and Phoenix race will be embarrassed. Dragon King, haven't you always wanted to kill me? Fine, I'll give you a chance. Now join forces and attack me. Defeat me and you can live. Very insulting. This will be interesting. With the strength that the Dragon King has displayed, how can the 3rd Prince and Qingjiang Aqua Phoenix fight? Unless they still have a trump card. When the surrounding experts and disciples heard Wang Xian's words, they widened their eyes and couldn't help but discuss. Humiliation duel. You're asking if you dare to accept it? Dragon King of Dragon Palace, don't go overboard. Qingjiang Aqua Phoenix stared at Wang Xian and said. Haha, saying that I'm going overboard? Interesting. You guys want to kill me and I'm here now. Yet you guys say that I'm bullying you. You guys are relying on the strength behind you. Fine, I'm also relying on the strength of the Dragon Palace. Let's fight it out? Besides, I, the Dragon King, am a man of my words. If you can defeat me, I'll let all of you go. TSK, come and fight it out with me. If you fight it out with me, the experts in your race might survive. But if you don't fight it out with me, none of you can leave. When Wang Xian finished his last sentence, his eyes were filled with coldness and eeriness. Huff huff. Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix's breathing quickened. At this moment, the phoenixes around her looked at her in silence. Over at the third prince's side, the experts from the angel race were also looking at him. Clearly they had objections. They had been forced into a corner. Burn all your life force and fight it out. A fire phoenix stared at Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix and said plainly. His words made Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix's wings tremble, and she slowly clenched her claws. All right, Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, let us have a taste of your current strength. Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix flapped her wings slightly, and the feathers on her body began to burn gradually. She was burning her life force. Swish. The third prince stood out as well. With a wave of his arm, a long spear appeared in his hand, and a crown appeared on his head. Golden radiance flowed on the wings. 3 inborn cardinal treasures. His aura was rising. But at this moment he was extremely embarrassed. The 5 strongest battle angels from his angel army, who were at the 7th Order Sovereign Realm, had all been turned into energy. If they hadn't exhausted their life force, he would still have a chance. Now, it was time for Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix to exhaust her life force. Very well. At least you guys aren't cowards. Let me have a taste of your strength and what makes you so arrogant. Wang Xian moved, and 4 nether ghost avatars attacked the third prince and Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix. Kill. Kill. Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix and the third prince roared as they attacked the nether ghost avatars. The Dragon King is obviously humiliating them. A 7th Order Sovereign Realm expert from the Nether race shook his head. Chapter 3789. Yes, the Dragon King is obviously toying with them. Even if the Green River Aqua Phoenix exhausts all her life force, she's still no match for the Dragon King. If the third prince's 7th Order sovereigns don't exhaust their life force, they might be able to take on the Dragon King. A 7th Order Sovereign Realm expert's voice rang out in the surrounding area. They had some understanding of the Dragon King's strength. How could the third prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix defeat him? Just as they had said, Wang Xian was toying with them. He wanted to let the high and mighty third prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix know that without the support of their race, they were nothing more than an existence that could be slaughtered at any time. The third prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix clashed with the 2 dark ghost doppelgangers. In a 1 versus 2 situation, they were not at a disadvantage. In fact, they even had the upper hand. If the battle continued, the 2 dark ghost doppelgangers would be destroyed. But this was under the circumstance that Wang Xian had not made a move yet. Die die die. The third prince roared crazily as he fought. He was aware of the problem in front of him, but there was nothing he could do. At this time he had to step up and fight the Dragon King. But now the Dragon King was still standing there without moving. Isn't the gap too big? The third prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix are fighting with the dark ghost doppelgangers. What will happen if the Dragon King makes a move? To defeat the Dragon King, we need an 8th Order sovereigns. He's too strong. This is the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. The surrounding experts and disciples sighed slightly. The experts of the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan were extremely embarrassed when they saw this scene. Their breathing quickened. I'm not going to tease you guys anymore. Seeing this, Wang Xian sneered and looked at the Green River Aqua Phoenix. I'll kill your Green River Aqua Phoenix first. I'm making my move, he said. Before he made his move, he reminded the Green River Aqua Phoenix. This was undoubtedly a mockery of him. Swoosh. The next moment Wang Xian made his move. He flapped his unbeginning saint wings and disappeared. The Green River Aqua Phoenix heard Wang Xian's words and sensed a terrifying figure attacking her. Her expression changed drastically. Flames of death bloom. Her eyes were bloodshot as she roared and unleashed a wide-range attack towards her surroundings. At this moment he burned 1/5 of his life. Buzz. When Wang Xian sensed the energy of the attack, he immediately formed a terrifying defense. At the same time the Tai Chi Dragon Plate began to spin. He continued to attack the Green River Aqua Phoenix. The moment he rushed over, the attack he had set up began to collapse. The attack landed on the Tai Chi Dragon Plate. However, the Tai Chi Dragon Plate easily blocked the attack. The power of the backlash began to rebound. As this layer of energy was weakened by Wang Xian's defense, the backlash wasn't too strong. But he was definitely not weak. The Aqua Phoenix immediately felt a strange power enter her body. She was caught off guard and spat out a mouthful of blood. Crash. In the next second, Wang Xian flapped his unbeginning sacred wings and landed on the body of the Green River Aqua Phoenix. He stood on it and lightly stamped his foot. A wave of energy directly surged into her body. Chirp, chirp, chirp. A sorrowful cry came from her mouth. Hee hee, Green River Aqua Phoenix, do you really think you can kill me in this state? Wang Xian stood on her body and mocked her. Too strong. He's simply too strong. Even the Green River Aqua Phoenix couldn't do anything to the Dragon King even when she was putting her life on the line. The Dragon King is indeed too strong. The gap is too huge. Perhaps the third prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix would never have imagined that they would end up like this after provoking the Dragon King. All the surrounding experts and disciples were shocked to see this. Kill the Dragon King. However, at this moment the experts from the Phoenix race fixed their eyes on Wang Xian and launched an attack. They seemed to have been waiting for this opportunity in time. They're going to sneak an attack on the Dragon King. When all the experts from the Phoenix race made their move, the surrounding experts were shocked. The Phoenix race was a little untrustworthy. TSK courting death. Lan Qingyue snorted coldly when she saw this. She had been keeping an eye on Wang Xian and the rest of them. How could she allow them to launch a sneak attack on Wang Xian? Lan Qingyue waved her arm and a black hole appeared behind Wang Xian. The black hole shrouded him instantly. In an instant, Wang Xian was back by her side. Kill them. After Lan Qingyue was done, she ordered Xiao Lan, Xiao Zhai and Xiao Bai with cold eyes. Woo-woo, woo-woo. In an instant, Xiao Lan, Xiao Zhai and Xiao Bai moved. Waves of horrifying grayish energy rushed towards them. This grayish energy condensed into the shape of swimming fish. Their bodies did not move, but the horrifying attack had already arrived. Among this school of swimming fish, some of them had opened their mouths, revealing a black hole. Creepy. Horrifying. Oh no, block it. The two phoenixes who had enhanced themselves with the help of the blood essence of the phoenix totem roared. They flapped their wings and formed a pair of wings that covered the sky. They faced the attacks from Xiaolan and the rest. Buzz buzz buzz. When the energies collided, a strange scene unfolded. Some of the phoenix's power directly disappeared when it collided with the fish that had opened their mouths like black holes. It was as though they were being devoured. But if one took a closer look, they would see that they were not being devoured. Instead, they were being transported to the bodies of Xiaolan and the rest. When these energy attacks landed on Xiaolan and the rest, they felt like tickles. After the phoenix energy was devoured, the black hole in the fish's mouths disappeared. However, the swimming fish continued to attack them. This attack represented the attacks of 3 8th-order sovereign realm cunts. How could the phoenixes resist? In an instant, the two phoenixes who had enhanced themselves spat out large amounts of blood as their bodies trembled violently. After all, they had enhanced themselves forcefully. Their combat strength was only comparable to an 8th-order sovereign realm expert from the Nether tribe or the Dark Ghost avatar. They were very ordinary. There was no way they could resist the attacks of 3 cunts. Third prince attack. Breakthrough. At the side, a dark angel from the angel race hurriedly roared at the third prince. The third prince gritted his teeth and the crown on his head shot out a ray of light energy. The light energy landed on the archangel's secret language. All the attacks were directed towards Lan Qingyue. Chapter 3790. The attacks of the archangel's secret words were all aimed at Lan Qingyue, following which all the experts from the angel tribe fled in one direction. Yes, they wanted to escape. After witnessing the terrifying battle strength of the 3 Kuan, they were ready to escape. This was not a battle of the same level. Wishful thinking. Lan Qingyue's eyes turned cold when she saw the attacks of the archangel's secret words coming at her. There were more than 20 attacks and each one of them was extremely terrifying. Lan Qingyue waved her arm, and in the next instant, Little Blue disappeared from the front. When it reappeared, it was already around Lan Qingyue. Yes, around. Little Blue's mouth came out while Lan Qingyue and Wang Xian stood on it. She waved her arm and a stream of energy surged into Little Blue's body. Whoa! Little Blue let out a low roar and a gray shadow of a Kuan was formed. The shadow immediately faced the attacks of the archangel's secret words. Boom 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 boom. Terrifying sounds of collision were heard, and the attacks made the shadow of the Kuan even more illusory. However, it was only illusory. The attacks of the archangel's secret words did not have any effect. Moreover, the attacks of the archangel's secret words would take at least a year for the next attack. In other words, after this attack, their trump card would be gone. Little Blue, destroy them. Lan Qingyue saw this and ordered Little Blue. Woo woo woo. Little Blue let out a low roar, and in a flash, it chased after the experts from the angel tribe. Its mouth was wide open and its speed was terrifying. With a slight sway, it caught up with the experts from the angel tribe who were preparing to escape. Is this the power of the ancient god Kuan breeder? The angel clan's trump card, the archangel's secret whispers that can kill 7th order sovereigns. All of their attacks were directed at the ancient god Kuan breeder, but they were easily blocked. Isn't the ancient god Kuan breeder a little too strong? That Kuan instantly appeared around the ancient god Kuan breeder. I didn't sense anything. What kind of strange energy is this? Is it teleportation? The trump card of the angel tribe is completely useless. They can't escape at all. That Kuan is too strong. Everyone was shocked by Lan Qingyue's move. That was the trump card of the angel race, yet it was actually blocked so easily. This was simply inconceivable. Perhaps this was the legendary ancient god Kuan breeder. It's over, it's over. How is this possible? How could our trump card be blocked so easily? How is this possible? It's over, we're completely done for. When the angel race powerhouses sensed the scene behind them and sensed Lil Blue's might, they fell into utter despair. They were still thinking that the Phoenix clan could give them some power. However, they did not expect that their own strength would not be able to withstand a single blow. What kind of enemy did the third prince provoke for us? A radiant angel couldn't help but roar in despair. When the third prince heard this, he felt as if his heart had died. He was in complete despair. He had a resurrection treasure. Even if he died this time, he could use the treasure to resurrect. But what would await him after his resurrection? He knew. What awaited him was to be refined into a battle angel. This time, even his father wouldn't be able to protect him. In fact, even his father wouldn't be able to protect him. Because the mistake he had made this time was far too big. It was so huge that it brought unimaginable losses to the angel race. Third prince, your life is mine. I'll kill you with my own hands. At this moment, the Dragon King's voice rang in his ears. The third prince looked over and saw the Dragon King standing very close to him. His eyes were filled with indignation. The person before him was an ant that he looked down upon. If he had known, he would have ordered his subordinates at the sovereign realm to kill the Dragon King. Even if it was against the rules of the pinnacle races. But now it was all too late. In the next moment, Wang Xian's palm grabbed the third prince's neck. A wave of destructive energy immediately rushed into his body, severely injuring him instantly. At this moment, the third prince's fighting spirit had completely vanished. His face was filled with despair. Wang Xian waved his arm, and the 5 elements grindstone appeared beneath his feet. He threw the third prince onto the grindstone. Wang Xian stepped on his face with 1 foot. A public humiliation. Ah! The third prince seemed to be unable to bear the humiliation as he roared in indignation. Energy surged from his body as he tried to commit suicide. Bam! However, Wang Xian moved his right foot and disintegrated all the energy in his body, imprisoning him completely. He moved and flew back to his previous position. Ah! No. At this moment, the escaping angel clan powerhouses let out miserable cries of despair. Little Blue opened its mouth wide enough to swallow the stars. This group of angels had no space to hide. Boom boom boom. Woo woo woo. Woo woo woo. At this moment, Xiao Zhai and Little White launched their attacks at the angels' race. An ancient voice rang out. Their massive bodies charged towards the flock of phoenixes. Run. Run. The 2 phoenixes who had forcefully enhanced their strength flapped their phoenix wings when they saw this scene. One on the left and the other on the right trying to escape. Their strength had been enhanced. They had a chance to escape. They still had a chance to survive. Little White Xiao Zhai locked them down. Leave the rest to me. Lan Qingyue said emotionlessly. Wang Xian stepped on the third prince's head and watched this scene with a smile. Escape? Where could they escape to? This was the starry universe, the territory of the giant beasts of space. This was the world of Little Blue and the rest. Here they had a natural advantage. None of them can escape. Oh, how can they escape? Just wait for your death and you still want to escape. The surrounding experts from the pinnacle races couldn't help but comment when they saw this scene. At the same time, they were shocked by the strength of the ancient god Kuan breeder and Kuan. They were also in awe of the Dragon Palace. The rise of the Dragon Palace was inevitable. Given the potential of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, it wouldn't be a problem for him to reach the pinnacle of the sovereign realm. At that time, with the addition of the ancient god Kuan breeder, the glory of the divine dragon race could be restored. Even now, the 12 pinnacle races could be changed to 13 pinnacle races. I wonder how the angel race and phoenix race would react when they learn of the situation here. I wonder how the other experts and disciples of the nine-source universe would react when they see the third prince of the angel race being stepped on by the Dragon King. The surrounding experts and disciples murmured as they watched this scene in shock. Chapter 3791. Chirp chirp chirp. The cries of the phoenixes continued to ring out. Two experts from the phoenix race who had forcefully enhanced their strength were fleeing in horror. Behind them, Xiao Zhai and Xiao Bai were too fast. Over at Xiao Lan's side, the experts from the angel race who had lost their will to fight were swallowed into her stomach. After the group of angels was dealt with by Xiao Lan, they flew over again. Lan Qingyue stared at the experts from the phoenix race. The terrifying aura from her made the remaining fire phoenixes tremble violently. Seeing this, Wang Xian revealed a cold expression. He waved his arm and a chain appeared in his hand. The chain instantly wrapped around the Qinjiang Aqua Phoenix. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, don't you dare humiliate me. The Qinjiang Aqua Phoenix roared at Wang Xian coldly. The flames of life around her were burning intensely. Even if she had to die, she did not want to be humiliated. She did not want to end up like the third prince. Walala. However, just as the chains were about to wrap around her body, a strange black hole instantly appeared around her, causing her body to be unable to move at all. What? No. The Qinjiang Aqua Phoenix could feel that her body was completely shackled. Fear was written all over her face. Swish. The chain wrapped around her body and tunneled into her body. The chains pierced through her body completely, making it impossible for her to circulate her energy. Wang Xian pulled his arm and the body of the Qinjiang Aqua Phoenix flew towards him. The five elements' great grindstone enlarged, and the huge body of the Qinjiang Aqua Phoenix fell to the ground. Her body trembled violently. She wanted to lift her head but she could not. The shackles of energy had rendered her immobile. However, she could see a pair of eyes. A pair of dull eyes. Those were the eyes of the third prince. They looked at each other. No one had expected this to happen. No one had expected this to happen to them. They were being stepped on by the Dragon King and they could not move. Their eyes were filled with despair. Originally, I had no enmity with your Phoenix clan and Angel clan. However, since you want to kill me, let's become enemies. I know that you won't die this time, but that's even better. I'll let you see me slaughter even more experts from your Angel clan and Phoenix clan, said Wang Xian coldly. His face was filled with ridicule and disdain. His words made the Green River Aqua Phoenix and the Dragon King tremble again. If that was really the case, they would become the sinners of the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan. With the arrival of Xiao Lan, the experts of the Phoenix clan were slaughtered one after another. The entire sky instantly quietened down. They're all dead. The Angel clan and the Phoenix clan, except for the third prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix, have all been exterminated. Too strong. The Dragon King and the others are too terrifying. After this, the Angel tribe and the Phoenix tribe will be in big trouble. It's not just big trouble. If the Dragon King really banishes the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan from the Starry Sky universe, they will have to suffer huge losses. The Dragon Palace has really risen this time. As long as the Dragon King and the others continue to hide in the Starry Sky universe, the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan will not be able to do anything. After billions of years, the strength of the Dragon King and the Dragon Palace will no longer be afraid of the two pinnacle clans. In the surroundings, all the experts and disciples were shocked when they saw that the experts from the two top clans had been killed. They murmured in shock. The Dragon Palace had really risen. Congratulations, Dragon King. You've killed your enemy. All of a sudden, a 7th Order Sovereign Realm Great Elf from the Elf race's side congratulated Wang Xian. Thank you. Wang Xian looked over with a smile when he heard the congratulations from the Fairy clan. The strength of the Dragon Queen Lan Qingyue is really terrifying. If I'm not wrong, your Kuan realm is only at the 5th Order Sovereign Realm without the suppression of the Starry Sky universe. The Great Elf continued to say with a smile. Yes, Xiao Lan and the rest are not suppressed by the Starry Sky universe because they are originally creatures of the Starry Sky universe. Just like the giant beasts of the mountains and seas, they will also be free from the suppression of the Starry Sky universe in the future. This is their home. Lan Qingyue replied with a smile. Lan Qingyue naturally knew that the Dragon Palace had a good relationship with the Fairy clan. That's good. They still have a lot of room for improvement in the future. The Great Elf nodded his head as his eyes flickered. Without the suppression of the Starry Sky universe, the Kuan realm at the 5th Order Sovereign Realm could contend with experts at the 8th Order Sovereign Realm. What if it advanced to the 6th Order Sovereign Realm? What about the 7th Order Sovereign Realm? Didn't that mean that he was an expert who could dominate the entire Nine Essences universe? Moreover, the Kuan realm was originally a creature of this universe. The other giant beasts of the Starry Sky universe would naturally not sense the invasion of a strong enemy. Therefore, the Dragon Palace would have a great advantage in the Starry Sky universe. If that's the case, won't the Dragon Palace be invincible in the Starry Sky universe? Damn. So that's the case. I was still wondering why the 8th Order Sovereign Realm experts of the Dragon Palace could move around in the Starry Sky universe. So that's the case. In the future, the Dragon Palace will be invincible in the Starry Sky universe. If that's the case, the Dragon Palace will definitely be able to obtain a large amount of resources from the Starry Sky universe. The rise of the Dragon Palace is inevitable. Upon hearing Lan Qingyue's words, the experts from the various top-notch races were moved. The Dragon Palace would have a great advantage in the Starry Sky universe. They would not be a match for the Dragon Palace. If the 3 Kuan realm experts were to improve further, they would be invincible. Their words naturally reached the ears of the 3rd Prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix. They were already in despair, and at this moment they felt even more hopeless. They lay there motionlessly, their faces ashen. Congratulations on the rise of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Congratulations on the rise of the Dragon Palace. At this time, a 7th Order Sovereign Realm skeleton expert from the skeleton race cupped his fists towards Wang Xian. This was a gesture of goodwill and acknowledgement. First it was the Elf clan. Then it was the Skeleton clan. The experts and disciples from the various high-level races were dumbfounded. Even the top-notch races had acknowledged the Dragon Palace? Congratulations on the Divine Dragon Bloodline's return to glory. Congratulations on the Divine Dragon Bloodline's return to glory. Some experts from the Divine Tiger clan and the Sage Bloodline also congratulated them. Congratulations on the Divine Dragon clan's return to glory. Congratulations on the Divine Dragon clan's return to glory. Following which, the experts from the other top-notch races also congratulated them. Anyway, it didn't matter if they exchanged a few words. They weren't trying to befriend them. Instead, it was a gesture of goodwill and acknowledgement. Chapter 3792. The 7th Order Sovereigns from the top 10 races congratulated Huang Xiaolong. This was their recognition of the Dragon Palace. Their recognition of the Dragon King. This also meant that they did not want to be enemies with the Dragon King. Thank you. Upon hearing their congratulations, Wang Xian revealed a faint smile and nodded his head. Let's go. He waved his arm and kept all the corpses around him. At the same time, he waved his arm and a sharp sword pierced through the bodies of the 3rd Prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix. They were completely killed. From now on, the 3rd Prince and the Green River Aqua Phoenix would no longer be enemies with Wang Xian. Lan Qingyue nodded her head and looked at Xiao Lan, Xiao Zhai and Xiao Bai. Woo woo woo. Woo woo woo. They growled and a black hole appeared in front of them. Wang Xian, Lan Qingyue and the rest came to Xiao Lan's body. Xiao Lan swayed its body and entered the black hole, disappearing immediately. Xiao Zhai and Xiao Bai followed closely behind. They had left, leaving behind a group of experts who were still in shock. In this battle, all the experts from the Angel race and Phoenix race had died. 27 7th Order Sovereigns from the top 2 races had come. This was a group of trump cards and this did not include the Angel army. It was too tragic. It was too tragic. With so many losses, even the top races would be heartbroken. These experts would be top-notch existences in any of the top races. But all of them died in one go. Right now, the entire communication stone plate is in an uproar. At this time, an expert from an advanced race exclaimed. Yes, at this moment, the entire communication stone plate was boiling. The communication stone plates of the peak-level races were filled with a large number of inquiries. The 7th Order Sovereign Realm experts sucked in a deep breath of cold air. The Dragon Palace is going to rise. The Dragon King has the strength to kill 7th Order Sovereigns easily. The Dragon Queen of the Dragon Palace has the strength of an 8th Order Sovereign and has 3 Kuan. She is the legendary ancient god Kuan breeder. In the future we should maintain a good relationship with the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. Do not offend them. These were the words that every 7th Order Sovereign Realm expert said to the experts of their respective races. It was also the most correct suggestion in their opinion. Other than that, they also sent out a message. 27 7th Order Sovereign Realm experts from the Angel race and Phoenix race, as well as their trump cards, were annihilated. The 2 peak races were in trouble. This was another piece of news they sent to the clan. In fact, there was no need to send this message to everyone. At this moment, all sorts of information regarding the battle had already been transmitted from the communication stone plate. Among them there were a lot of pictures. What a terrifying Kuan. The powerful ancient god Kuan breeder. The third prince of the angels of light who was being stepped on by the Dragon King. The Green River Aqua Phoenix was chained by the Dragon King. Corpses of phoenixes and angels could be seen everywhere. When these photos were uploaded to the communication stone plate, it caused a huge commotion. My god, how is this possible? Was this the trump card of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King? Is this the strength of the Dragon Palace? Ancient god Kuan breeder? This is a legendary and terrifying existence. I can't believe the Dragon Palace actually has such an existence. Invincible, the strength displayed by the Dragon King and the others is simply invincible. Especially those three Kuan. Even looking at the pictures they give off a feeling of fear. Is this still the third prince of the Radiance Angel race? Is this still the Green River Aqua Phoenix of the Phoenix race? Why do I feel like he's worse than a dog? The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace has trampled on the faces of the Angel race and Phoenix race. Haha, this feels great. Watching these videos is simply too satisfying. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace did not offend you, but you have always wanted to kill the Dragon King and destroy the Dragon Palace. Now you're finished, right? You're worse than a dead dog. Dragon King. What third prince of the Angel race? What water phoenix of the Phoenix race? Isn't he just a piece of trash under my feet? Dragon King is awesome, broken voice. Countless experts and disciples were sending out shocking news through the communication stone plate. Some were gloating, some were supporting the Dragon King, and some were cheering. Most of the experts and disciples were excited when they saw the scenes unfolding before their eyes. After all, being able to see the experts of the Angel race and Phoenix race being trampled under the Dragon King's feet gave them a sense of joy. After all, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had climbed up step by step. From the start to the end, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had been fighting back passively. Peak race? Arrogant? Are they still arrogant now? Awesome. The communication stone plate was in an uproar. Countless experts and races were cheering. The Divine Dragon race is back. Under the leadership of the Dragon King, the once peak race had returned. The 13th peak race, the Dragon Palace. Various experts and disciples were discussing amongst themselves. The disciples of the peak races were also discussing amongst themselves. At this moment, only the experts of the Angel race and Phoenix race felt a chill in their hearts. 27 Seventh Order Sovereign Realm experts had been killed. All of them had been killed by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. That was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that the strength of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace was too terrifying. What should they do next? Right at this time, a piece of news exploded in the communication stone plate. The experts of the Nine Origins cosmos were in an uproar. The news came from the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Next, I will clean up all the experts and disciples of the Phoenix race and Angel race in the Nine Origins cosmos. I will kill every single one of them I see until they scram out of the Nine Origins cosmos. When all the experts and disciples saw this news, their eyes lit up. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace's real counterattack had begun. At this time, it was no longer the two peak races killing the experts and disciples of the Dragon Palace. Instead, it was the Dragon Palace killing the Angel race and Phoenix race. It was a complete turnaround. What should we do? What should we do now? The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the others are so terrifying. Are we going to retreat to the Nine Origins cosmos? Damn it, damn it. It's all that Trash's fault. He brought such a terrifying enemy to our Angel race. He deserves to die 1,000 times over. The Green River Aqua Phoenix should have a treasure that can resurrect her. Make her pay for what she did to our Phoenix clan's powerful disciples. The experts and disciples of the Angel race and Phoenix race in the Nine Origins cosmos were dumbfounded. Many of them had obtained a lot of treasures and opportunities in the Nine Origins cosmos. Not even 1/5 of the Nine Origins cosmos had been explored. Asking them to leave? How great would their losses be? This was a treasure trove. They could not search for treasures here. The losses would be too great. Chapter 3793. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At the entrance of the passage between the Nine Origins universe and the Starry Sky cosmos. One by one, terrifying figures flew over to this side. There were radiance angels that looked like white stars. There were dark angels that flapped their wings in the endless darkness. There were fire phoenixes that flapped their wings and emitted towering flames. There were aqua phoenixes that seemed to carry an ocean with them. There were also golden phoenixes that emitted rays of golden light. These were the experts of the angel race and the phoenix race. They were experts of the elder rank and above. In the middle of the group of angel race experts, there was a terrifying existence that sat on the radiance god's throne, with a radiance reincarnation pool floating above his head. This existence was the radiance angel king of the angel race. He was already a peak existence among the sovereigns of the Nine Origins universe. The number of experts that could defeat him could be counted on one hand. This number also included the existence of the heavenly origin fortune. One could imagine how powerful the Radiance Angel King was. There was also an existence on the same level as the Radiance Angel King from the Phoenix race. An Aqua Phoenix. She flapped her wings as she flew over, as though she was carrying a world of water with her. The surrounding phoenixes let out joyful cries. Countless experts were gathering in this direction. Around the passageway, some of the experts from the other top clans saw it, and their eyes sparkled. She's here because of the Dragon King from the Dragon Palace. That must be it. Our fairy race has gained a few hundred sovereigns in the past hundreds of thousands of years. The starry sky cosmos is a land of treasures. Now that the Dragon King wants to exterminate the Phoenix race and the Angel race, the two peak races will suffer great losses. They won't be willing to do so. Hee, who would have thought that the Dragon King who was chased to our angel race would grow to such a level? Several great fairies from the fairy race watched with smiles on their faces. The fairy race was the first peak race to establish good relations with the Dragon King. Moreover, their Siddhi Empress had given the Dragon King a treasure to conceal his aura. If not for this treasure, the fact that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace possessed 7 attributes would have long been exposed. If the angel race had known that the Dragon King had so many attributes, they would have killed the Dragon King in the cradle, even if they had to break the rules. The elf race was indebted to the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. From the past few incidents, they could tell that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had always remembered this favor. It's going to be interesting. I wonder how the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan will choose. Will they give up the Starry Sky universe, bow down to the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, or some other method? In the surrounding area, there were also experts from peak clans discussing. Now the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan were in big trouble. Buzz buzz buzz. At this time the experts of the Angel race and Phoenix race flew over. They floated in the void around them, their expressions extremely ugly, including the King of Light Angels and the King of Water Phoenixes. This matter had already affected the future development of their two races. One had to know that not even 1/5 of the Starry Sky universe had been explored. Now they had gained several hundred sovereign realm experts, and they had also found a powerful cultivation paradise. Some of them were only slightly weaker than the ones in the core of the Nine Essences universe. How could they bear to give up? But if he didn't give up, what else could he do? Bow down to the Dragon King? Bow to the Dragon Palace? The problem was, would the Dragon Palace's Dragon King agree to it if he lowered his head now? They would probably have to pay a price. Ancestral Witch of the Witch race. The angel race is willing to offer enough treasures in exchange for one of your ancestral witches to curse the Dragon Palace's Dragon King. Do you agree? The King of Light Angels floated in the air for a few seconds before suddenly looking at the witch race. The witch race of the sorcerer race. Their strongest experts were called the 12 Ancestral Witches. The 12 Ancestral Witches, as their name suggested, had 12 of them, and each of them was extremely terrifying. Lord King of Light Angels, the price is too high. Our ancestral witches will not do it. We only know the Dragon Palace's Dragon King's true name, and we have to curse him across a universe. Even if the 12 of us ancestral witches join forces, there is only a glimmer of hope. On the witch race's side, an 8th order sovereign realm ancestral witches responded faintly. This was just a polite response from them. If it wasn't polite, it might be nonsense. Too tired? With only one true name, the 12 ancestral witches could indeed curse him, but they were separated by a universe so they could forget about it. Even if the 12 ancestral witches joined forces, the probability of success was only 1/10. When the King of Light Angels heard this, his face darkened. He also knew that the probability was very small, but under the current situation he had no other choice. The star beast in the Starry Sky universe has already warned us that once an existence above the 7th order sovereign steps in, it will definitely be killed. There is a slim chance of a powerful treasure. But this probability is too small. The Aqua Phoenix King's eyes flickered as he looked at the King of Light Angels. Negotiate with the Dragon Palace. Let the Dragon King set the conditions. Even if we have to pay some price, some resources, we can't give up the Starry Sky universe. Ha! The surrounding experts from the Peak clans were a little surprised when they heard the Aqua Phoenix King's words. They were a little surprised that the Aqua Phoenix King actually wanted to sue for peace with the Dragon Palace's Dragon King. The two Peak clans were suing for peace with the Dragon Palace's Dragon King. This made all living beings seethe with excitement. The King of Light Angels sat on the throne, his face a little ugly. But he had no other way now. They couldn't enter the Starry Sky universe. The Dragon Palace's Dragon King had the ancient god Kuan Breeder, who was unexpectedly not suppressed by the Starry Sky universe, and might become stronger in the future. He might even become so strong that even if they entered, they would be able to compete with them. After all, if they entered, they would be suppressed. Under such circumstances, the other party was simply invincible. There was no other way. Withdraw from the Starry Sky universe. Or sue for peace with the Dragon Palace. But to sue for peace they would probably pay a great price. The King of Light Angels floated quietly in the air. After a few minutes, he nodded weakly. Yes, they could. They had been completely forced by the Dragon Palace's Dragon King to the point where they had no other way. The Dragon Palace's Dragon King was the first to make the two Peak clans helpless. In the surrounding position, a group of angels and phoenixes slightly flapped their wings. They also looked at each other helplessly. This time the trouble caused by their third prince, Jianghu Aqua Phoenix, would cause them to lose too much. Chapter 3794. The Phoenix Clan. We, the Phoenix Clan, are willing to make peace with the Dragon Palace and bury the hatchet and welcome the future together. The behavior of the Qingjiang Water Phoenix does not represent the will of the Phoenix Clan. We are willing to compensate. Angel Clan. The third prince of the Radiant Angel had a conflict with the Dragon Palace. The Angel Clan will demote the third prince to a battle angel. The Angel Clan does not wish to be enemies with the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. I hope that the Dragon King can consider the relationship between both parties. We are willing to compensate for the third prince's personal matter. Just as the communication stone plate was in an uproar, just as all the experts were shocked by the strength of the Dragon Palace in this battle. The sudden two pieces of news were like a bomb that caused all the experts and disciples to boil with excitement. All the powerhouses and disciples, including the powerhouses from the top clans, were dumbfounded when they saw these two pieces of news. What did that mean? This meant that the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan, the two Peak clans, had lowered their heads to the Dragon Palace. Crazy. The two Peak races actually issued such a statement? This is simply unimaginable. What the fuck? The Phoenix Clan and the Angel Clan are going to sue for peace with the Dragon Palace. This is unbelievable. This is the Phoenix Clan and the Angel Clan. How could the Dragon Palace force them to such an extent? Reducing the third prince to a battle angel is equivalent to turning the third prince into a battle puppet. This punishment is very terrifying. The strength of the Phoenix race and the Angel race is extremely terrifying. In the end, they actually lowered their heads. Don't lower your head? What else could they do but lower their heads now? Once the Dragon King says that he really wants to expel the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan from the Starry Sky universe, the losses of the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan will be very terrifying. Seeking peace with the Dragon Palace is the only option. Otherwise, the Angel Clan and the Phoenix Clan may be far surpassed by the other Peak clans. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace has the ancient god Kuan Breeder. He is already invincible in the Starry universe. Who would have thought that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace could force the two pinnacle tribes to such an extent? From today onwards, the Dragon Palace will rise. All the disciples were shocked when they saw the news. The Dragon Palace's reputation had risen tremendously after the two Peak races bowed to them. Now, all the Peak races had acknowledged the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. At the same time, in the storm continent of the Starry universe, Xiaolan, Xiaobai and Xiaozhai were currently leveling up. The harvest this time was simply too great. It was so big that the 8 million disciples of the Dragon Palace could all reach the peak of the universe venerable realm. It was so big that there was still some dragon blood left and it could not be used up. That was the combined strength of several 7th Order sovereigns. On top of that, Wang Xian had also obtained a huge amount of resources. The resources of dozens of 7th Order sovereigns, especially the third prince and the Clear River Aqua Phoenix. It was no exaggeration to say that these resources could allow Wang Xian to improve immediately. Large amounts of resources and treasures. This time, the Dragon Palace's strength would soar. There was a benefit to having a large amount of resources. Apart from the fact that more than 8 million Dragon Palace disciples had all advanced to the Venerable Peak realm, there was another benefit to the large amount of resources. Another benefit was to shorten the accumulation of Sovereign Realm experts in the Dragon Palace. When one's strength reached the Sovereign Realm, one would have to rely on one's own comprehension to advance to the next realm. However, during this process, there was still a process of energy accumulation. For example, a Sovereign Realm expert needed 100 points of energy and their own comprehension to advance. Then, a large amount of resources would allow a Sovereign Realm expert to increase their strength from 0 to 100 points. After accumulating enough energy, all that was left was comprehension. Once comprehended, the breakthrough would be complete. This reduced the accumulation process. This could shorten a terrifying amount of time. Therefore, the resources were still useful to the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian was calculating a large amount of resources when he suddenly received a message from Prime Minister Turtle. When he saw these two messages, the corner of his mouth curved slightly. What a surprise! Who would have thought that the Phoenix race and Angel race would bow down to us? He was a little surprised by these two messages. However, this also showed that they valued the Starry Sky universe very much. They did not want to lose the Starry Sky universe and were willing to pay the price. Looking at these two messages, Wang Xian's eyes flickered slightly, and he fell into deep thought. Should he continue to be enemies with the Phoenix race and Angel race? Or should he reconcile with them? It was publicly acknowledged that the Angel race had Heavenly Yuan Creation Realm experts. Whether the Phoenix race had it was not very certain. However, it was very likely that they had the Fire Attribute Heavenly Yuan Creation Realm experts. If he continued to be enemies with them, he might have to face two Heavenly Yuan Creation Realm experts. Of course, Wang Xian also knew that their request for peace might just be superficial. If there was a chance in the future, they would definitely stab the Dragon Palace in the back. There's no point in being enemies with them. I might as well agree to their request for peace. However, since I have agreed to their request, they will have to pay a price. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. Maximizing benefits. Of course, it was not just maximizing benefits. Wang Yun had a wish in his heart. This wish was to transfer the Dragon Palace to the Divine Dragon Island. The Divine Dragon Island was once the base camp of the Divine Dragon race. It was the root of the Divine Dragon race. He could propose to the Angel race to hand over the Divine Dragon Island. Apart from that, he could also ask the Angel race to fork out a large amount of resources for his advancement. Now that Wang Xian's strength was comparable to a 7th Order Sovereign, the resources he had could allow him to advance to the 8th Order Sovereign realm. He could ask the Angel race for resources that could allow him to advance to the 9th Order Sovereign realm. Apart from that, Wang Xian could also ask for resources for the 5 Elements Grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Plate. Thinking of this, the corner of his mouth curved slightly. In this way, his strength could increase exponentially. Wang Xian took out the communication stone plate and immediately sent the conditions he wanted to Prime Minister Turtle. Prime Minister Turtle could negotiate with the Phoenix race and the Angel race through the AI. Wang Xian did not make many requests. There were only 5. The ownership of the Divine Dragon Island. Resources that were sufficient for him to advance to the 9th Order Sovereign realm. Resources that were sufficient for the 5 Elements Grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Plate to advance to the 9th Order Sovereign realm. These were his conditions. This was a terrifying amount of resources. I wonder if the 2 peak races will agree to it. Wang Xian muttered to himself. He was a little uncertain. Just the resources he needed to advance to the Divine Dragon Island was huge. In addition, he had to add the Divine Dragon Island. After sending the message, Wang Xian began to wait quietly. If he succeeded, it would be a huge improvement to himself and the Dragon Palace. Chapter 3795, At the same time, at the position of the Galaxy Universe Passage, Radiance Angel King and Aqua Phoenix King were still hovering there. The resources of the Galaxy Universe were too important to them. They had to wait here for news and resolve this matter once and for all. When they received the conditions from Prime Minister Turtle, they frowned slightly and their faces were a little ugly. Especially the Aqua Phoenix King, it looked terrible. The Dragon Palace's Divine Dragon Island, the nest of the Peak clans, was a very powerful paradise. It was also very precious to the entire Phoenix clan. Although it was more suitable for the Divine Dragon clan, it was also of great benefit to the Phoenix clan. If they were asked to take it out, they would naturally be reluctant. In addition, if the Divine Dragon Island was given to the Dragon Palace, the strength of the Dragon Palace would increase again. Moreover, they had never opened the legendary treasure of the Divine Dragon clan. The Radiance Angel King also frowned slightly. He could still afford the conditions and resources of the Dragon Palace. But that huge amount of metal material was not so easy to take out. It was a very huge sum. But overall he could accept it. The angels will provide the resources and materials. The Radiance Angel King pondered for a moment and looked at the Phoenix clan. The expression of the Aqua Phoenix King kept changing. The angels agreed, which also meant that the angels were temporarily suing for peace with the Dragon Palace, because the Divine Dragon Island was occupied by them. I need to discuss it. The Aqua Phoenix King did not agree immediately. He took out the Universe AI and sent some messages. After the message was sent, he waited quietly. The Divine Dragon Island had too many implications and he could not make the decision. Not long after, messages came one after another. After seeing them, he nodded to the Radiance Angel King. Agreed. They all agreed. The Angels and Phoenix clan immediately sent the news to Prime Minister Turtle. Soon Wang Xian also received the news that they had agreed. So straightforward? When Wang Xian received the news from them, he was shocked. Seems like I asked for too little. He could not help but feel a little regretful. Of course, although he felt that it was a little too little, Wang Xian was very satisfied to get the Divine Dragon Island back and all the resources. His strength would increase exponentially. An existence comparable to a 9th Order Sovereign Realm expert, coupled with the Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Grind, Huang Xiaolong's strength was comparable to a peak Sovereign Realm expert. Of course, this would have to wait until he had completed his advancement. The Dragon Palace doesn't want to be enemies with any top clans. In the future, when the disciples of the Dragon Palace move around in the Starry Sky universe, we hope to have a fair competition. Wang Xian took out the communication stone plate and sent a message. Everyone was able to understand this news. The Dragon Palace had reconciled with the 2 pinnacle races. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace has released a message. What does this message mean? It's obvious that the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is willing to reconcile with the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan. The Angel clan and the Phoenix clan must have taken out treasures that could tempt the Dragon King. This is inevitable. I wonder what price they paid. It seems that the conflict between the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan will end with the victory of the Dragon Palace. I've witnessed the rise of the Dragon Palace in the Great War. The Dragon Palace has really risen against the tide. Inside the communication stone plate, countless experts and disciples were discussing. This result did not come as a surprise to many of the powerhouses and disciples. Now that the Dragon Palace was enemies with the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan, there was not much benefit to be gained. Reconciling with the other party could reap many benefits. When this news came out, very quickly, another piece of news spread rapidly on the Universe Artificial Intelligence System. The Dragon Palace will return to the Divine Dragon Island and rebuild the glory of the Divine Dragon clan. This news spread like wildfire on the Universe AI, and the experts and disciples in the Starry Sky universe also received this news. So they used the Divine Dragon Island for the transaction. The Divine Dragon Island is now occupied by the Phoenix clan. Now it seems that the Phoenix clan has paid the price for the Divine Dragon Island. Although it's returning to the original owner, it's still the base of a pinnacle race. The blessed land must be very powerful. Is this the return of the Divine Dragons? The experts and disciples were discussing. The Divine Dragon Island belonged to the Dragon Palace. This also meant that the Divine Dragons had returned. The 13 pinnacle races of the past had gathered again. In the 9 Origins universe, Prime Minister Turtle immediately headed to the passage between the 9 Origins universe and the Starry Sky universe to complete the transaction. Large amounts of resources were handed over to Prime Minister Turtle. At the same time, Prime Minister Turtle and a dozen Sovereign Realm experts from the Dragon Palace flew towards the Divine Dragon Island. Wang Xian did not return immediately because he was afraid that there was a trap. His presence and Lan Qingyue's presence was the best deterrent to the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan. Therefore Wang Xian had to be careful. I wonder what treasures and blessed lands are in the Divine Dragon Island. Wang Xian murmured, his eyes filled with anticipation. The Divine Dragon Island was the nest that the Divine Dragon clan had been operating since the last cataclysm. Divine Dragon Island. At the same time, in the sky above the mountain sea land, Prime Minister Turtle and a dozen Sovereign Realm experts from the Dragon Palace flew at high speed. The Divine Dragon Island was located in the Mountain Sea Land. Now that all the space beasts in the Mountain Sea Land had left, it was much safer here. Prime Minister Turtle and the others stared ahead, their eyes filled with excitement and anticipation. After all, that was the foundation of the Divine Dragon clan. As they got closer, they felt as though they were connected by blood. This feeling was like returning to the embrace of their mother. As they continued to fly, islands appeared one after another. Each island was in the shape of a divine dragon. There were gold, green, cyan, red, white, black, each and every one of those islands possessed boundless energy. Prime Minister Turtle, each island in the shape of a divine dragon represents a powerful blessed land. There are a total of 99 islands in the shape of a divine dragon. The water dragon chief stared at the islands in the shape of a divine dragon with excitement in his eyes. On these islands they could feel the power of the source, a power that made their blood boil. The base of every peak clan has a blessed land that is no weaker than the Fireheart Treasure Land. The Divine Dragon Island is no exception. Even if the resources in the blessed land are temporarily exhausted, they can still recover bit by bit. The Phoenix clan is willing to return the Divine Dragon Island to us. The energy in the blessed land must have been exhausted. Prime Minister Turtle said. Chapter 3796. Prime Minister Turtle and the others slowly came to the sky above the Divine Dragon Island. There was only one Divine Dragon Island, and the other islands could only be considered subsidiary islands of the Divine Dragon Island. At the center was an extremely large island. The island was lush and verdant, and 9 types of energy were surging up from below. In the center was a water column that shot up to the sky. When the water column reached the top, it was in the shape of a water divine dragon. The entire water column contained special energy. This should be the legendary Dragon Baptism Pool. The Dragon Baptism Pool that is most useful for water-attributed divine dragons. Prime Minister Turtle looked at the water column that shot up to the sky and condensed into the shape of a water divine dragon, and his eyes bloomed with excitement. Dragon Baptism Pool. This was the place where the Divine Dragon Tribe's Fortune Realm experts broke through. This Dragon Baptism Pool had a terrifying effect on water-attributed cultivators. And this effect was baptism. The so-called baptism could increase the water-attributed divine dragon's comprehension ability and increase their chances of breaking through. If it was said that if one of the 10 fire divine dragons cultivated normally, they would be able to break through easily. With the help of this Dragon Baptism Pool, 4 or 5 water divine dragons could easily break through. Moreover, even if their cultivation advanced to the sovereign realm, it could still greatly increase their comprehension ability. To the Divine Dragon Clan this was definitely a rare treasure. Because the Dragon Baptism Pool had been modified by the Fortune Realm Water Divine Dragons, it was only effective for the Divine Dragon Tribe's experts. This was also one of the reasons why the Phoenix Tribe was willing to give up this place. The Water Divine Dragon Chief stared at the Dragon Baptism Pool with a fiery gaze. This could greatly increase the strength of the Water Divine Dragons. Come, let's go down. Prime Minister Turtle replied and immediately flew towards the ground. When they landed, Prime Minister Turtle looked at the dragon pools that were completely devoid of energy. These dragon pools were different from the Dragon Baptism Pool. Below these dragon pools was an incomparably huge blessed land that had been modified by the Divine Dragon Tribe into dragon pools. There were 99 dragon pools. They could see traces of energy condensing in these dragon pools. These were the real dragon pools, and the other Dragon Palace's dragon pools were just imitations. Of course, the Dragon Transformation Pool in the Dragon Palace was different from these dragon pools. These dragon pools were supported by the blessed land, and the energy produced in them was comparable to the Fireheart Treasure Land. Unfortunately, the energy here had been completely depleted. However, as time passed, the energy would gather bit by bit. After a few 100 million years, the accumulated energy will be enough to give birth to several hundred First-Order Sovereign Realm experts. Prime Minister Turtle said. It would be great if there was still energy here. AO2 spoke slowly. Let's go. According to the records, the treasury of the Divine Dragon Clan is located below. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, they moved and flew towards the ground. Not long after, they arrived in front of a dragon gate. Around the dragon gate, there were 9 divine dragon pillars of 9 different attributes. The dragon gate is closed. Let's see if it can be opened. Prime Minister Turtle moved his palm, but the dragon gate did not move. The leader of the Water Divine Dragons also gave it a try and shook its head. It seems like the Mystical Dragon Clan's treasury cannot be opened, and the Phoenix Clan's treasury cannot be opened either. Turtle Prime Minister frowned slightly. He took out the Universe AI and sent a message setting up a demon spirit altar. Their information had been relayed through Enlai. However, this time he summoned Enlai. Soon Enlai arrived and left quickly. Not long after, Enlai appeared in the Storm Mainland in the Starry Universe. Dragon King, these are the resources that Prime Minister Turtle asked me to deliver. In addition, they have reached the Divine Dragon Island. Currently, many resources on the Divine Dragon Island have been used up. The only thing that is of great use is the Dragon Baptism Pool. In addition, the treasury of the Divine Dragon clan has not been opened. Prime Minister Turtle and the rest have tried several methods, but to no avail. Enlai reported to Wang Xian. Oh. Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and revealed a smile. All right, let Prime Minister Turtle transfer the Dragon Palace over and take over the Divine Dragon Island. Take over the Divine Dragon Island, and the Divine Dragon clan would return. In the future they would change their name to Dragon Palace. As for the treasury of the Divine Dragon clan on the Divine Dragon Island, Prime Minister Turtle and the rest would try to open it first. He did not intend to return to the Nine Origins universe until he was strong enough to avoid Pinnacle Sovereigns. This was also to prevent accidents from happening. Yes, Dragon King. Enlai nodded his head. In addition, let the Dragon Palace disciples enter the Starry Universe. Let them continue to cultivate in the Fireheart treasured land. He continued to instruct. Enlai acknowledged at the side and left. Wang Xian looked at Enlai leaving and was disappointed. He checked the storage space in his hand and his eyes lit up with excitement. Resources, a huge amount of resources. These resources were enough to raise his strength to the 4th Order Sovereign realm. In other words, he would be comparable to 9th Order Sovereigns. In addition, the metals inside were enough to raise the Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Great Grind to the 9th Order Sovereign realm. They would definitely be terrifying existences. I won't raise my strength for now. I'll raise the 5 Elements Great Grind and the Tai Chi Dragon Plate first. Wang Xian looked at the resources and pondered. He could not raise his strength. Once his strength was too strong, he would attract the attention of the powerful giant space beasts in the Starry Universe. Those giant space beasts would hunt him down. To him this was a bad thing. Therefore Wang Xian could not raise his strength for now. Once he raised his strength, the Starry Universe would not be able to contain him. He had to return to the Nine Origins universe. Currently, the Nine Origins universe was more dangerous. Raising the Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Great Grind is equivalent to raising my strength. At that time, with the help of the 5 Elements Great Grind and the Tai Chi Dragon Plate, I will be equally terrifying. A smile appeared on Wang Xian's face as he looked around. Xiaolan and the rest were still raising their strength. He took out the metals and placed them on the Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Great Grind. If Wang Xian wanted to help them raise their strength again, the speed would be much slower. After all, their strength was on the same level as the Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Great Grind. Time passed day by day. The battle between Wang Xian and the Angel Race and Phoenix Race ended. Both sides had reached a temporary truce. For the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe, there was a temporary peace. The group of experts and disciples once again focused on exploring the Starry Universe. As time passed, more and more experts obtained resources and broke through. More and more experts from the high-level races evolved and reached the Sovereign Realm. This was a huge opportunity. However, what they did not know was that at the end of the Starry Universe opposite them, there was also a large number of strange life forms exploring the Starry Universe. Sooner or later they would meet them. Chapter 3797. Time flowed by, the years were endless. Wang Xian sat in front of the storm land, waiting for the transformation of the Tai Chi Dragon Board and the 5 Elements Grindstone. At the same time, Xiaolan, Xiaobai and the others were also leveling up. The ancient god Kuan Breeder was a little scary. The star behemoths in the Starry Sky universe had their own shackles to break through. After reaching the Sovereign Realm, one would need to comprehend before they could break through. As for Xiaolan and the others, as long as they had enough resources, they would not be able to break through. Perhaps they would only encounter a shackle when they reached the peak of the Sovereign Realm. This time the progress was very slow. Xiaolan, Xiaobai, and the others took more than 5,000 years to complete the breakthrough. He broke through to the 6th Order Sovereign Realm. This level of strength could no longer be compared to the experts of the 9 Essences universe. Compared to the 9 Essences universe experts who had entered the Starry Cosmos, Little Blue and the others were already invincible existences. Even if they had a large number of treasures and weapons, they were no match for Xiaolan and the others. The difference was too great. Only 9 Essences sovereigns, who were at the peak of the 9th Order, could enter the Starry Sky. Unfortunately, they couldn't. When Xiaolan and the others broke through, they were in the Storm Continent. The powerful star behemoth glared coldly at Xiaolan, Xiaobai, and the others and let out a warning roar. Seeing this, Wang Xian and the rest distanced themselves from the place. Now that Wang Xian and the rest had improved their strength, they could already sense the strength of the galactic beasts there. The strongest among them possessed the strength of a 7th-order sovereign. In other words, only peak-level sovereigns from the 9 essences cosmos would be able to contend against them. It would be great if I could occupy the center of the storm mainland with my strength. With so many terrifying metal materials, the Dragon Palace would definitely be greatly improved. Wang Xian murmured. After Xiao Lan and the rest leveled up, Wang Xian ordered Lan Qingyue and the rest to move around on their own. With Xiao Lan and the others' strength, they would be considered pretty good in the Starry Sky universe. They could definitely find some treasures and opportunities. As for Wang Xian, he still had to wait for the Tai Chi Dragon Board and the 5 Elements Grindstone to absorb them. It was somewhat difficult for the 5 Elements Grindstone and the Taiji Dragon Plate to absorb these metals. After all, this was equivalent to a powerhouse cultivating and consuming a large amount of resources. It would take a lot of time to absorb these resources. Time passed quickly and 1,000,000 years passed quickly. When Wang Xian was in the depths of the storm land, he built a temporary residence. In these 1,000,000 years, it was Guan Shuqing and the other girls who accompanied him most of the time. Boom boom boom. On this day, waves of vast energy came from both sides at the same time. When Wang Xian sensed it, his eyes were filled with excitement. He moved and immediately flew out of the palace. Looking at the Tai Chi Dragon Wheel and the 5 Elements Grindstone emitting terrifying energy, Wang Xian was thrilled. He broke through. They broke through at the same time. More than 900,000 years ago, the 5 Elements Grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Coil had already broken through to the 8th Order Sovereign Realm. He had already reached the 9th Order Sovereign Realm. Wang Xian waved his arm and the Tai Chi Dragon Plate came to him. It floated around him and gradually formed a black robe. The heads of the light and darkness divine dragons were located on his left and right shoulders respectively. Instantly Wang Xian sensed a powerful force gushing into his body. Wang Xian's current strength was only at the 7th Order Sovereign Realm. He did not dare to raise it. He did not dare to. With the Tai Chi Dragon circling around him, he could unleash the strength of a 9th Order Sovereign with the help of the Tai Chi Dragon Coil. Moreover, he could basically ignore the attacks of 1 or 2 9th Order Sovereigns. With a wave of his arm, the 5 Elements Grindstone appeared above him. Above him, the 5 divine dragons roared and gradually shrunk, turning into the shape of a crown. On the crown, the metal, wood, water, fire, and earth divine dragons raised their heads, making the entire crown look majestic. The 5 Elements Grindstone could also contend against 3 9th Order Sovereigns. Even if Wang Xian had not improved his strength, he could still kill 9th Order Sovereigns in an instant. After all, the cores of the 5 Elements Grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Coil were formed by his clone with the help of the 5 Element Source and the Heart of Light and Darkness. Very good, very powerful. Wang Xian revealed a satisfied look. With the Tai Chi Dragon Coil and the 5 Elements Grindstone's improvement, he could head deeper into the universe. He could explore the entire universe. In the past 1,000,000 years, the Dragon Palace's reputation grew day by day. Especially when Lan Qingyue led Xiaolan and the others away to occupy a treasure land, the Dragon Palace's reputation soared. In addition, in the past 1,000,000 years, the Dragon Palace's disciples had entered the universe. Millions of disciples had entered, and none of them were weaker than the Venerable Realm. This discovery shocked the other races in the 9 Origins universe. Even the peak races were shocked by the number of Venerable Realm experts in the Dragon Palace. However, even though they were shocked, they were not too surprised. As long as there were enough resources, peak Venerable Realm existences could be mass-produced by experts with the bloodline of the peak race. However, they were unwilling to waste so many resources on experts below the Sovereign Realm. It was a better choice to increase the strength of experts above the Sovereign Realm. However, in the past 1,000,000 years, the number of Sovereign Realm experts in the Dragon Palace had experienced a huge increase. This increase was huge. In the past 1,000,000 years, the number of First Order Sovereigns had increased by 1,000. There were 2 main reasons for such a terrifying increase. One was the Fire Heart Treasure Land, which only disciples of Dragon Palace could enter. The Fire Heart Treasure Land was comparable to the core treasure land of the peak races. There were hundreds of fire-attributed Dragon Palace disciples who had completed their breakthrough there. The second was the Dragon Baptism Pool on the Divine Dragon Island, which had allowed a large number of water-attributed disciples to break through. These 2 places were the most precious treasure lands for the peak races. Although the increase of 1,000 Sovereign Realm experts in 1,000,000 years was a lot, it was normal. In the past 1,000,000 years, the Dragon Palace had produced more than a dozen Second-Order Sovereigns. The former 7 Mad Demon Wuxia Water Demon Yao Yu Yi Shisen Mingsha Sheng Lei Shan, and Jitian were the first to complete their breakthrough and reach the second-order sovereign realm. In addition, there was his sister Xiaoyu, Fan Qinglan, and Bei Shuang. They were all variant divine dragons. Variant divine dragons had a huge advantage when breaking through the shackles. Their breakthrough was comparable to ordinary third-order sovereigns. Chapter 3798. The improvement of the Dragon Palace was visible to the naked eye. Although compared to the Peak clans, the Dragon Palace was still far from the Dominator level. But the Dragon Palace still had time. There were still billions of years to go. In these billions of years, Wang Xian believed that the Dragon Palace would be able to overtake the Cataclysm. It was especially so in these billions of years. Wang Xian was confident that his strength would reach a terrifying level. Dealing with the Cataclysm. The disciples of Dragon Palace had completely integrated into the other races, competing, making friends, or learning from each other. The other Peak clans were also very polite to the disciples of Dragon Palace. After all, this was the Starry Universe. Here the Dragon Palace was invincible. After all, the Angel race and the Phoenix race had both submitted to the Dragon Palace for peace. Next, I can go to the depths of the Starry Universe to take a look. Wang Xian murmured. With a swift move, he flew towards a direction immediately. With his current strength, he could increase his speed to the 9th Order Sovereign Realm with the help of the Tai Chi Dragon Disc. Therefore he did not need to use the unparalleled sacred wings to fly. The speed of a Universe Level 9 was considered extremely fast in the universe. At the same time, as Wang Xian was flying towards the depths of the Starry Sky Universe, at the right side of the Starry Sky Universe. Over a million years, the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences universe had already reached an extremely profound level in their exploration of the starry sky. Although he couldn't say that he had searched the entire area around the core, he had already searched more than half of it. A large number of resources and treasures were collected, and a large number of experts and disciples obtained fortuitous opportunities. Right now, the high-ranking clans had already produced several hundred ruler-rank experts. The transformation of their bloodline and the improvement of their constitution had caused them to undergo a qualitative change. On the surface, several hundred high-level race experts had completed their breakthroughs, but there might be many more that had not been announced. After all, there were just too many disciples of high-level clans. Let's continue flying forward. There's still an unexplored place there. We should be able to obtain some treasures there. The Nine Essences universe and the Starry Sky universe passageway were basically opposite each other. More than 10 figures were flying at high speed. They were the experts of the Celestial Nation. Now that there were fewer and fewer resources in the periphery of the Starry Sky universe, they could only come to places far away to see if they could find some resources. The place they had arrived at was basically at the end of the Starry Sky universe. There weren't many powerful space beasts here, so they were relatively safe. So. As they continued to fly forward, they suddenly saw a figure flying towards them from the front. There's someone in front. What's the situation? The experts and disciples of the Celestial Nation all had looks of astonishment on their faces. They immediately came to a halt as their gazes flickered, sizing up Lin Fan. In front of them, the dozens of figures who were flying over were also sizing up the experts and disciples of the Celestial Nation with astonished looks on their faces. Something's off. Their auras are completely different from ours. They're completely different from our Nine Essences universe. Their energy is also very strange. Very soon, an expert from the Celestial Nation exclaimed in astonishment. What race are you from? He hesitated for a moment before asking the other party. On the opposite side, the expressions of the 20 or so figures didn't change at all when they heard the words of the Celestial Nation expert. They looked at each other and their eyes shone brightly. You are not creatures of the Starry Sky universe. Among the 20-odd figures, the middle-aged man in the lead stared at the group of experts from the Celestial Nation and asked. When his words rang out, the faces of the experts from the Celestial Nation all changed. Their language did not belong to the Nine Essences universe. The Nine Essences universe had its own language. Furthermore, he was certain that their words did not originate from the Nine Essences universe. The reason they could hear each other was because of their mental connection. Through the mental connection they could understand what the other party was saying. You are not creatures of the Starry Sky universe either. Which universe are you from? How did you enter the Starry Sky universe? The leading expert from the Celestial Nation asked in astonishment. They had actually encountered experts from other universes. How was this possible? There were experts from other universes who had entered the Starry Sky universe? Their Nine Essences universe wasn't the only one here? This was not good news for the Nine Essences universe, because their competitors had appeared. Kill them. However, at this moment, the middle-aged expert in the lead immediately roared. His figure flashed as he attacked the dozen or so experts from the Celestial Nation. The middle-aged man in the lead waved his arm, and a strange weapon appeared in his hand. He swept it horizontally. An attack that contained a unique energy shot toward them. The attribute of this attack was extremely strange. It seemed to contain an indestructible will and the determination of millions of living beings. It was very unique, very strange, and also very powerful. This caused the expressions of the dozen or so experts from the Celestial Nation to change. Courting death. Kill them. The expert from the Celestial Nation roared. His figure trembled as a projection of the Celestial Nation floated above them. An incomparably huge palm materialized on the projection and blasted toward them. The middle-aged man's attack quickly crumbled under this huge palm. Not good, these fellows are very strong. The middle-aged expert in the lead exclaimed in shock. Kill them. However, the eyes of the expert from the Celestial Nation lit up as he roared loudly. He couldn't see through the energy his opponent was using, so he naturally couldn't see through their strength. However, with just a single exchange, he knew that he was a level higher than the other party. Since the other party wanted to kill them, then they would kill them no matter what. He wanted to know which universe these beings had come from. Just like their Nine Essences universe, they had entered the Starry Sky universe. This was a potential competitor. Or even an enemy. Run. We're no match for them. The middle-aged expert on the other side roared and immediately flew backward. An illusory figure gradually appeared behind him. The illusory figure was in the shape of a human. They sat there quietly as if chanting, as if giving their blessings. The middle-aged expert's speed skyrocketed as he immediately flew backward. The middle-aged man and his group were naturally the gods of the faith universe. Their power was the power of faith. It wasn't metal, wood, water, fire, or earth, but a unique type of energy. The power of faith had no weaknesses or drawbacks. As long as there were more believers, the more power they could offer, the stronger the power of their faith would be. When the experts of the faith universe and the Celestial Nation started fighting, it also meant that the clash between the Nine Essences universe and the faith universe had begun. Chapter 3799, Chase after them. Kill them all. The experts in the center of the Celestial Nation roared with killing intent as their eyes gleamed. Since the other party had taken the initiative to attack them, they would naturally not let them off. Their figures moved, and from the illusory palace above their heads, a series of terrifying attacks were launched towards the experts of the faith universe. Ah, no, no. No. Very soon miserable cries rang out. The few gods of faith who were at the back were struck by the experts of the Celestial Nation and let out miserable cries. Damn it, just you wait for our faith universe. The middle-aged man who had fled the fastest sensed that his companions had been killed and roared with a face full of killing intent. With a flick of his palm, he crushed an item that was glowing brightly. Following which, he continued to flee forward. Faith universe, so it's the faith universe. Who would have thought that you guys would have also stepped into the starry universe? However, how dare you attack us? The expert from the Celestial Nation roared with a face full of killing intent. On top of the illusory palace above his head, several solid figures slowly appeared. These figures resembled ancient generals from Earth. Clad in armor, they charged towards them. Following which, miserable cries rang out once again. Of the 20-odd experts of the gods of faith, 7 or 8 had been killed by him. The one who's going to die is you. All of a sudden, the eyes of the escaping expert shone brightly. Mali Mali Hongli Tai Mali. Just then, a voice that sounded like chanting suddenly rang out from the front. When the experts of the Celestial Nation heard this, their eyes narrowed and a look of caution appeared in their eyes. To think that there are beings from other universes in the starry universe. Since that's the case, die. Faith, judgment. At this moment, a voice rang out from the front. Following which, a beam of light shrouded them. The beam of light gradually condensed into unique runes, which shrouded over the experts of the Celestial Nation. Don't touch these runes. Go, we have to leave immediately. Seeing that the other party still had reinforcements, the middle-aged expert from the Celestial Nation made a prompt decision and ordered loudly before fleeing into the distance. Can you escape? Why don't you become my loyal believer? That calm voice rang out once again. The peculiar runes suddenly accelerated and sank into the body of one of the experts from the Celestial Nation. The runes entered his body and drilled into the top of his head. He desperately wanted to resist, but his resistance was getting weaker and weaker. Become my loyal believer, worship me, offer your life, live for your God, are you willing? The rune arrived above the head of that expert from the celestial nation. A voice rang out in his mind, washing away his memories and everything else. A terrifying form of brainwashing and memory washing had begun. This is bad. The universe of faith has a way to control people. Run. The middle-aged man from the immortal nation, who was the strongest in the center, clearly had some understanding of the methods of the faith universe. He desperately fled into the distance. Become my believer. But at this moment, a rune appeared behind him and directly surged into his body. The experts of the celestial nation could vaguely see countless people appearing around him, singing praises and assimilating him. Scram! He roared and his body exploded in an instant. He committed suicide. In this way he could escape the fate of being naturalized. The reason why he dared to end his life by committing suicide was because he had the means to resurrect himself. Once he was naturalized, he would truly be done for. Before he died, he understood that the experts of the faith universe, whom even he could not resist, would also die. Or perhaps they would be naturalized and become slaves of the universe of faith. Slaves with no thoughts. After the middle-aged expert died, he was quickly reborn in the Nine Essences immortal nation. He immediately spread the news to the experts of the celestial nation. There were other peak races in the starry cosmos, and they had already clashed and engaged in a great war. This was not good news for the Nine Essences immortal nation. The two great universes had met before the cataclysm had even begun. This was bound to be a clash. When the news reached the ears of the experts of the celestial nation, all of them had looks of shock on their faces. There were actually beings from other universes in the starry cosmos? This was a serious problem. The experts of the celestial nation discussed for a while, then immediately spread the news to the other peak races. The appearance of another universe was no small matter. This was already a matter that concerned the other universes. A war between universes was no longer a matter of the celestial nation. It was a matter of the entire Nine Essences immortal nation. If there was a conflict with the faith universe, it would be a war between universes. All the peak races of the Nine Essences immortal nation, all of them would unite. Just like the cataclysm, the various universes would be connected. A universe was a power. Of course, there were also cases where a universe was not united, and there were even cases where there were killings. But at least in the past, all the beings of the Nine Essences immortal nation were united. When the news spread to the other pinnacle clans, the powerhouses of all the pinnacle clans were shocked. At the same time, Wuxia, who was flying through the starry cosmos, suddenly received news from the fairy race. Moreover, it was news from a seventh-order sovereign realm fairy race. This caused him to look at it suspiciously. When he saw the content, he was slightly taken aback. The universe of faith. Beings from the universe of faith have appeared in the starry cosmos. What is the universe of faith like? Wuxia muttered to himself in shock. The message from the fairy race was an invitation for him to head to the Nine Essences immortal nation for a discussion. When the time came, all 13 peak races would participate. This concerned the entire Nine Essences immortal nation. Wuxia immediately replied, then flew towards the world passage. The fairy race's invitation, and the disciple of a new universe expert entering the starry cosmos, was a huge matter. He naturally had to make a trip there to understand the situation. In addition, this was also a meeting between the Dragon Palace and the other 12 peak races after they had established a foothold among the peak races. He had to go. As for the problem of comfort, Wuxia was not worried. First, it was the fairy race's invitation. Naturally, they would not allow the experts of the angel race and phoenix race to attack him. Second, the Dragon Palace had already reconciled with the angel race and phoenix race. Now that a new universe expert disciple had appeared, it was not the time for a civil war. Chapter 3800. Wuxia sped towards the passage between the Nine Origins universe and the starry sky cosmos. With the help of the Tai Chi Dragon Plate, their speed was terrifying. At the same time, the experts of the 12 pinnacle races in the Nine Origins universe, as well as the 6th and 7th order sovereigns in the starry sky cosmos, were all rushing over. The appearance of a new universe was a very important matter, especially when they were in conflict with the celestial nation. In fact, the appearance of a new universe in the starry sky cosmos would definitely lead to conflict and even war. Everyone wanted to seize more resources and even kill each other to steal their resources. This was the rule between universes. Competition. Killing. A year later, Wang Xian was getting closer to the passage. He lowered his flying speed and kept the 5 elements grindstone and Tai Chi dragon plate. This was his trump card at the moment, and it was also his greatest trump card. After the Tai Chi dragon plate and 5 elements grindstone were upgraded, Wang Xian could even fight against Xiaolan and Little Otaku with these 2 trump cards. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not expose himself. After keeping the 5 elements grindstone and Tai Chi dragon plate, Wang Xian continued flying forward. The huge world passage gradually appeared. There were still some experts flying over from the surrounding areas. The experts from the various pinnacle races sensed Wang Xian's presence. Their eyes flickered as they looked over in awe. Wang Xian's current strength was clear to all the experts from the various races. He could kill a 7th-order sovereigns in an instant. Among the 7th-order sovereigns, he was invincible. Even with powerful treasures, he could not kill the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Because his speed was too fast and terrifying. Wang Xian came to the world passage. This was the first time he flew out from it. In the past, because of the Phoenix race and Angel race, Wang Xian had always asked Enlai to transport him. This was the first time he flew over openly. Dragon King over here. When Wang Xian flew out, a noble elf from the elf clan waved at him with a smile on his face. Wang Xian looked at the big elf and felt the terrifying aura from her. He smiled. "Hello, Fairy Queen." Wang Xian greeted her respectfully as he flew over. He would never forget the kindness of the elves. "I sensed you the last time you came to the city. I haven't seen you for a while and you've grown so much. I'm afraid it won't be long before you're on par with me," the elf queen said to Wang Xian with a smile. It was obvious that they were treating him as an expert of the same level. The elf queen wasn't doing this on purpose to gain Wang Xian's favor. Instead, the elf queen was certain that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace could make it this far. After all, the last time Wang Xian entered the fairy tribe, he only possessed the strength of a venerable. It had only been slightly more than 1,000,000 years, and he had already reached such a level, forcing the Angel race and the Phoenix race to lower their heads. In the future, it was 100% certain that he would be able to step into the sovereign realm. Moreover, the Dragon King had reached the peak of the sovereign realm. The Elf Queen was certain that she was no match for him. This was because she knew how many attributes Wang Xian possessed. When he reached the peak of the sovereign realm, he would probably be invincible under the Heaven Origin realm. "Elf Queen, you flatter me. I'm afraid I still have a long way to go before I can reach your level." Wang Xian shook his head politely. "Hee, that might not be the case." The Elf Queen chuckled. "Dragon King." Beside him, the rest of the great elves also smiled at Wang Xian and greeted him. Wang Xian nodded his head and exchanged a few words with them. "Dragon King." Wang Xian. Not long after, Wang Xian heard a voice. He looked over and revealed a faint smile. 3 figures were flying over. The leader was Ling Honggu, who was dressed in red. Beside him were his grandfather, the Black Vulture King, and another sovereign realm expert from the Skeleton Clan. "Honggu, Black Vulture King, you guys are here too." Wang Xian looked at them and smiled. "Honggu, I didn't expect you to improve so quickly after not seeing each other for more than 1,000,000 years. Is this still fast? Compared to you, I'm already very slow, alright?" Ling Honggu was speechless when he heard Wang Xian. Ling Honggu's strength had already broken through to the 4th Order Sovereign Realm. His speed of improvement was considered heaven-defying even among the peak races. However, compared to Wang Xian, the difference was too great. Of course, the main reason was that Wang Xian could skip many levels. His current realm was only the 2nd Order Sovereign Realm. "Greetings, Dragon King." The experts from the Skeleton Clan bowed to Wang Xian and greeted him respectfully. "Dragon King, this is the Dark Bone King, my boss." The Black Vulture King introduced from the side. "Wang Ming, nice to meet you, Dark Bone King." Wang Xian nodded his head immediately. The Dark Bone King was the king of the Black Vulture King. Now that Ling Honggu's strength had improved by leaps and bounds, coupled with the fact that they knew Wang Xian, the Dark Bone King was also polite to the Black Vulture King. "Dragon King, I've heard a lot about you," the Dark Bone King said with a smile. Wang Xian exchanged some pleasantries with him before looking at Ling Honggu. "How are you doing in the Starry Sky universe? Seeing how fast you improved, you must have encountered many opportunities, right?" "It's alright, mainly because there aren't any shackles in my improvement." Ling Honggu and Wang Xian had not seen each other for a long time. Before long, some experts from the Skeleton Clan came over and started chatting with Wang Xian. Now that the Dragon Palace had reconciled with the Angel Clan and Phoenix Clan, and the Dragon Palace possessed invincible strength in the Starry Sky universe, many pinnacle clans were more than happy to befriend Wang Xian. Soon, a peak sovereign king from the Skeleton clan came over and exchanged some pleasantries. "Oh yes, Skeleton King, Elf Queen, do you guys know anything about the universe of faith?" After chatting for a long time, Wang Xian asked. "We, the Skeleton clan, don't know much about it. We were born after the last cataclysm. However, I'm sure the Elf Queen knows a lot about it. I'm a little curious." The peak sovereign king Skeleton King smiled and looked at the Elf Queen. The pinnacle clans had not been involved in any large-scale wars. Therefore, the relationship between them was still all right. The universe of faith is a very powerful universe. Everyone should know that other than our Starry Sky universe, there are many other universes. Each universe has a different cultivation system. The Elf Queen looked at them and started her introduction. Chapter 38:01. The cultivation method of the universe of faith is to collect the power of faith. They develop their followers and get them to offer their faith. Through the heart of faith they collect the power of faith. The power of faith is unclear. It's the exclusive power of that particular universe. However, it has very powerful means. The gods of the universe of faith have all kinds of powerful means, especially when they're in a life and death situation. They can make their followers sacrifice their lives in a faraway place and then explode with terrifying strength. When you encounter the gods of the universe of faith, it's best to hold them back when they explode. Their explosiveness is limited, just like the Phoenix clan's life ignition. In addition, the universe of faith has another very powerful point that we have to pay attention to. The faith runes they condense are the wills of countless followers. Once these faith runes are injected into the bodies of other living beings, their thoughts will be cleansed by the countless wills of faith, and they will be forcibly turned into their followers. As long as it's a living being, they can use this method to control them. The Elf Queen explained to Wang Xian and the experts from the Skeleton clan. Every universe had its own strengths and unique characteristics. The universe of faith's methods were also very strange. They can actually force an expert to become their own follower. This method is really terrifying. Wang Xian sighed. It's indeed very powerful. However, their faith runes have little effect on the sorcerer race, the underworld tribe, and the sage bloodline. In fact, they are immune to it. This is because the spirit and will of the sorcerer race's sage bloodline and the underworld tribe are very terrifying and unique. The Elf Queen nodded. At this time he looked around and said, "All the pinnacle races are here." Wang Xian looked over and saw experts from the Phoenix clan, the Angel clan, the Royal clan, and many others flying over from the Starry universe. In the surroundings, the experts of the peak clans had also arrived. "Since everyone is here, let's begin," the pinnacle sovereign Skeleton King said as he looked over at the celestial nation. "All 13 pinnacle races are here. Let's begin." A pinnacle sovereign expert from the celestial nation nodded and said. Among the 13 pinnacle races, other than Wang Xian from the Dragon Palace, there were hundreds of experts from the other pinnacle races. Every pinnacle race had a pinnacle sovereign expert. One could imagine how important this matter was to them. "Let's begin." An old man wearing a bamboo hat from the sorcerer tribe said in a hoarse voice. The experts from the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan swept their gazes across the surroundings and fixed their eyes on Wang Xian. However, they did not show any hostility. Since they had already asked for peace, it was impossible for them to show deep hatred after seeing each other. There was no need for that. According to the report of a fourth-order sovereign realm disciple of our celestial empire, an expert from the universe of faith has been discovered in the depths of the universe. In other words, it's on the other side of the passage. That disciple of our celestial nation had no choice but to commit suicide after the faith rune entered his body. In order to be resurrected, he was able to do so. The Immortal King of the celestial nation said. Immortal King was the title given to experts at the peak of the sovereign realm in the Immortal Empire. In the celestial nation there was an unknown celestial king. To be able to control a fourth-order sovereign realm's faith rune, it should be a sixth-order sovereign realm's faith rune. An expert from the saints' bloodline said. Because their cultivation systems are different, I don't know their exact strength. The celestial king from the celestial nation shook his head. We don't know when the universe of faith will enter the universe. We have to be prepared. When our two universes meet, there's no way we can coexist peacefully. Indeed, there's no way we can coexist peacefully. Although they weren't our mortal enemies during the last cataclysm, they caused us quite a bit of trouble when we were fighting against the Void Universe. If it wasn't for the Void Universe, we would have annihilated those fellows from the universe of faith. The sorcerer wearing a bamboo hat from the sorcerer tribe suddenly said. The universe of faith is indeed not a good thing. In the last cataclysm they conquered a universe and incorporated it into their faith. Now that they can break through the barrier of the universe, they must have connected with another universe as well. With the resources of two universes, their strength must have increased by a terrifying amount. Given the aggressive nature of the universe of faith, they will definitely want to plunder more universes when the cataclysm arrives. The Elf Queen said. Their words had uncovered a corner of the universe, leaving Wang Xian bewildered. He did not expect the universe of faith to be so strong. Our Nine Essences universe has a grudge against them? In that case, we can't let them obtain more resources from the Starry Sky universe. The expert from the Divine Tiger clan said. In this era, the Sage bloodline, the Divine Tiger bloodline, the Skeleton clan, the Celestial Nation bloodline, and the Royal clan were the new pinnacle races of the universe. They did not know much about the previous cataclysm. Of course, not all of them were ignorant. There were still some old fellows among the Peak clans who knew a little. This was because the people who established the Sage bloodline, the Divine Tiger bloodline, the Skeleton clan, and the Celestial Nation were all experts who had survived the last cataclysm. However, they didn't come this time, nor did they tell their clansmen about this. After all, the cataclysm would only arrive in a few billion years. The cataclysm will arrive in a few billion years. Just like before, the void cosmos is our number one enemy. There's no doubt about that. The faith cosmos used to be our enemy as well. They're getting stronger and stronger and will invade the other cosmos. Therefore, we need to increase our strength as soon as possible. Because of the Starry Sky universe passageway, and the birth of the powerful skeletons, our Nine Essences universe is much stronger than it was during the last cataclysm. A female devil expert from the Devil clan said with a smile. She flapped her wings. Is that so? Then it seems like the Peak clans of the past did not have many experts. The Skeleton King, who was not far away from Wang Xian, said with a smile. The Skeleton clan was born in this era. Due to their unique characteristics, they could be said to be born from the remains of the deceased from the previous cataclysm. Therefore, the strength of the Skeleton clan was truly formidable. Even the Peak clans that had existed for several cataclysms would not underestimate the existence of the Skeleton clan. Now, we need to formulate a strategy. Chapter 3802. Against the universe of faith, there's no doubt that we have to fight for resources. Moreover, the experts of the universe of faith are also resources to us. In addition, those from the universe of faith have already entered the Starry Sky universe. Given the way they do things, they will definitely attack our disciples. This time, our Celestial Nation disciples were attacked by them first. The Celestial Nation Immortal King said. The Faith Power universe is extremely aggressive, Yang Qi said. If they encounter experts from the Nine Essences universe, they'll definitely try to take control of them. The Fairy Queen nodded. Then there's no need to say anything. If we encounter the gods of the universe of faith, just kill them. The Pinnacle Sovereign Skeleton King said directly. Several experts from the Pinnacle races nodded. Not only that. Since we're enemies, we have to hunt down the disciples of the universe of faith. A powerful sorcerer from the Sorcerer tribe said. Wang Xian wasn't sure who this sorcerer was, but he could be an ancestral sorcerer. Clearly, the Sorcerer tribe and the universe of faith must have had a huge conflict during the last cataclysm. Yes, the gods of the universe of faith contain a huge amount of faith energy. This kind of faith energy is also very useful to us. It can greatly increase the chances of our disciples breaking through. A Pinnacle Sovereign Angel from the Angel tribe said with glistening eyes. Faith energy was a special kind of energy that was related to the soul. It contained pure blessings. When the sacred spirits of the Nine Origins universe absorbed it, it could improve their comprehension, which also increased their chances of breaking through. If a Pinnacle Supremacy expert could kill a Pinnacle Supremacy and absorb their faith energy, the chances of breaking through would increase by several times. This was a terrifying increase, especially for the disciples who were about to break through. The reason why the cataclysm would erupt was because the living beings of the other universe, or their universe, possessed precious treasures that other universes coveted. The universe of faith also wanted to turn the living beings of the Nine Origins universe into their own believers to increase their strength. The universe of faith meant that the more believers they had, the stronger they were, and the more powerful the gods would be. There's one terrifying thing about the faith universe. After being baptized by their faith runes, all living beings will become their loyal subordinates. It's fine for the strong as they can only destroy their memories. But for the weak, they can even retain their memories and obtain important information. The City Queen said. We really do need to be careful about that, Yang Qi said. We need to inform all of the experts and disciples in the Nine Essences universe about the Faith Power universe. The Celestial Nation's Immortal King nodded his head and said, Yes. Apart from that, I suggest that every apex race establish a hunting team for the gods of the universe. The sorcerer continued to speak. It is indeed necessary. The expert of the Phoenix clan nodded. Since we're going to fight against those guys from the Faith universe, we'll work together. We'll share information, and if we encounter a powerful team of believers, we'll work together. Also, if any pinnacle races are in danger and need help, the other pinnacle races will immediately come to support them. An expert from the Saints' bloodline said. Sure. The experts of the Peak clans nodded. We, the Wizard tribe, can create a compass to test the faith of the gods. I have some here. They are all from the past. I'll give you some. The sorcerer of the Sorcerer tribe waved his arm and black compasses flew towards the experts from the Pinnacle tribes. Each of the Pinnacle races had over 100 of them. Clearly, these were detection treasures that the Wizard tribe and the gods of the universe had created during the last cataclysm in order to deal with them. Thank you, Ten-Armed Sorcerer. The Celestial Nation's Immortal King thanked the sorcerer. Ten-Armed Sorcerer? Wang Xian's eyes flickered when he heard this name. The Sorcerer tribe was mysterious and powerful. They had been around for as long as the mystical Dragon tribe. They were also existences that had gone through several cataclysms. Although they had yet to produce a heavenly origin creation realm existence, it was rumored that if the 12 Sorcerer tribe ancestors joined forces, they could contend against the heavenly origin creation realm. In short, the Wizard tribe was the most mysterious in the Nine Essences universe. Thank you, Ten-Armed Sorcerer. Wang Xian and the experts from the other pinnacle races expressed their gratitude. Apart from that, there's one more thing to take note of. The gods of the universe might take in the cosmic beasts as their followers. Ten-Armed Sorcerer added. The experts from the pinnacle races nodded. Since that's the case, it's decided. On the communication stone plate, the 13 pinnacle races will open a separate channel. Only 7th order sovereigns and above can enter. This is to prevent disciples from being forcefully taken in as followers by the gods of the universe and divulging their movements and secrets. The Celestial Nation's Immortal King said. The experts from the pinnacle races nodded again. If you're confident, kill more of the gods of the universe. The more you kill, the better it will be for your respective pinnacle races. Ten-Armed Sorcerer spoke again as he looked at Wang Xian. Dragon King, your dragon palace has the ancient god Kuan breeder. You won't be suppressed by the universe over there. If you're strong enough, you can kill more of them. It will be beneficial for your dragon palace too. Of course, you have to take note of the trump card of the universe. They might be able to deal with a 5th order sovereign Kuan. Anyway, this is a reminder for you, Dragon King, Ten-Armed Sorcerer said to Wang Xian. Thank you for your reminder, Ten-Armed Sorcerer. I understand. Wang Xian nodded as his eyes flickered. If the power of faith in the gods of the universe really had the same effect as the dragon baptism pool, Wang Xian would not hesitate to hunt the gods of the universe without restraint. As for being careful, Wang Xian did not really care. Lan Qingyue, Xiaolan, and the rest were not 5th order sovereigns but 6th order sovereigns. The gods of the universe would also be suppressed when they entered the starry universe. Xiaolan and the rest could fight against 9th order sovereigns. He did not believe that the trump card of the other party could deal with them. The current strength of the Dragon Palace does have a great advantage in the starry universe. The Elf Queen looked at Wang Xian and said with a smile. The rest of the experts from the pinnacle races also nodded slightly. However, they did not say anything. Chapter 3803, The Fiend Devil Tribe. A powerful enemy has appeared in the starry sky. A living being who believes in the universe has appeared. This is an enemy of the Nine Essences universe. The Fiend Devil Tribe is going to form a squad to hunt down these worshippers. Creatures that believed in the universe had faith power, and the strangest thing they could do was to use faith runes to control other creatures and make them submit to them, forever following their orders. Disciples of the other races, take note. If you encounter any living beings who don't have any of the 9 elements of the Nine Essences universe, flee immediately. You can report this information to any of the other races. All the high-level races can join our fiend race and hunt the beings of the universe who believe in us. Shaman Tribe. A powerful enemy has appeared. A living being who believes in the universe has appeared in the starry sky. An enemy of the Nine Essences universe has appeared. The shaman tribe will form a team to hunt down the living beings who believe in the universe. The angels were speechless. The phoenixes were speechless. Immortal Kingdom was speechless. Same was speechless for a second. Dragon Palace was speechless. After the 13 peak races finished their discussion, they used the name of the peak races to spread the news to all of the experts and disciples in the Nine Essences universe. This announcement was mainly made to inform the disciples of the high-level races. Currently, many of the high-level races had already pledged their allegiance to the apex races. But there were still some who did not join. This news was also a reminder to them. After all, this was a clash between two universes, and all of the disciples from the Nine Essences universe were on their side. If a large number of disciples from the Nine Essences universe were taken in by the Faith universe, the Nine Essences universe would be in big trouble. During the previous cataclysm, the reason why the universe of Faith was able to conquer another universe was because of this method of taking in believers and breaking through from within. Wuxia also made a statement in the name of the pinnacle races. However, after his statement, another statement was made. Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace recruits aquatic creatures. Those who join the Dragon Palace will receive the divine dragon bloodline. Currently, the Dragon Palace had more than 8 million experts and disciples. This wasn't a large number. Compared to all the top clans, it was considered a small number. He decided to recruit more disciples to increase the number of disciples in the Dragon Palace to at least 10 million. 10 million was Wang Xian's target. This was also a number that Wang Xian wanted to maintain. 10 million disciples of Dragon Palace had all reached the peak of the Venerable Realm. This was an extremely terrifying combat power. Among the 10 million disciples, those who had broken through to the Sovereign Realm would be able to form a Sovereign Core in the future. In order to better prepare for the cataclysm. What's going on? Faith in the universe? What was the universe of faith? For the 13 apex races to make such a statement at the same time, is something big going to happen? Oh my god, the 13 peak races have spoken at the same time. This is too shocking. Are we going to fight against the powerhouses of the universe of faith in the starry sky? It can't be. All the peak races have made a statement at the same time. Does this mean that the starry sky universe is about to become dangerous? All the apex races have formed hunting squads and joined forces. This is crazy. The 13 apex races are joining forces to fight against the other universes. I feel like a war is about to break out. I heard from the experts of the witch tribe that we will send more experts over to hunt down the disciples of the experts who believe in the cosmos. Hunt and kill living beings that believe in the universe and obtain the heart of faith, which is helpful in breaking through the shackles. When the 13 pinnacle races released the news at the same time, it caused a huge uproar. Faith in the universe? War erupts? The 13 peak races working together? Every piece of news was like a blow to the hearts of the experts and disciples of the high-ranking races of the Nine Essences universe. This news was too shocking. Soon, Wang Xian's second announcement also caused quite a commotion. The Dragon Palace is recruiting disciples, and those who pass will be rewarded with the divine dragon bloodline? Wow, it can't be. The Dragon Palace is provoking disciples. This is a heaven-sent opportunity for the marine races. Although the Dragon Palace's current strength is not among the apex races, the potential of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is too terrifying. He can kill a 7th Order sovereign within a short period of time. He also has the terrifying ancient god Kuan Breeder. He is invincible in the Starry Sky universe. Even the Phoenix race and the Angel race have bowed to the Dragon Palace. Joining the Dragon Palace is definitely an opportunity for all marine races experts. There are many experts in the Dragon Palace. In the past millions of years, I have not seen any experts below the pinnacle of the Venerable Realm. I want to join. The news from the Dragon Palace caused quite a stir among the marine races. When the other races saw this, they felt slightly regretful. However, compared to the news from the Dragon Palace, the news about the universe of faith was too shocking. The experts and disciples of the entire Nine Essences universe were discussing it. Even the experts and disciples of the apex races were shocked. To them, this was the first time they had encountered creatures from other universes. Prime Minister Turtle, form a hunting team of the Dragon Palace and bring out the strongest force of the Dragon Palace. In addition, the advancement seed on the progenitor tree should have matured by now. Give it to a disciple of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian sent a message to Prime Minister Turtle at the Universe Passage. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle replied quickly. Also, get Lan Qingyue to place a Kuan in the hunting team of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian murmured. The strength of the Dragon Palace was still too weak. Even if the hunting team was successfully formed, the strongest one was only Bei Shuang, who had the strength of a third-order sovereign. This hunting team could be said to be the weakest among the apex races. However, it would be different with a Kuan following them. He got Lan Qingyue to bring the other two Kuan to continue searching for opportunities in the Starry Sky universe. Wang Xian was ready to hunt for himself. He wanted to see if he could meet a creature of the universe of faith. After killing it, he would see if the so-called Heart of Faith was worth it. If it was really as the 10-armed sorcerer ancestor had said, it could greatly increase his strength. In that case, Wang Xian would start hunting on a large scale. Currently, the Dragon Palace was not lacking in resources. Many disciples had already reached the pinnacle of the Venerable Realm. In addition, those in the Sovereign Realm had all reached the pinnacle of the First Order and the pinnacle of the Second Order Sovereign Realm. If the Heart of Faith obtained from hunting could help the disciples of the Dragon Palace to break through quickly, the strength of the Dragon Palace would increase explosively. After all, the shackles were the most important for experts above the pinnacle of the Venerable Realm. Breaking through the shackles was far more troublesome than accumulating resources. He moved and immediately flew towards the inner part of the Starry Sky universe. The rest of the apex races also began to make preparations. This was an opportunity, but at the same time, it could also be a disaster. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.